Hi, in this tutorial I will show you how to customize the text of the field. For example, in this mask there is a boolean field, and if you remember in simulation, here you will see the value 0 and 1, that is the value of the variable. But you can see that cooling status 0, 1, okay, for sure the customer can imagine that 0 means cooling that doesn't work, and 1 that the cooling is working. But for sure would be better to show here something different. For example, off, on. Of course, the system allows to do this, so the way is this. You have to click the background or the background grid here of the page, like for the keys. I remind you that here you must see global, as you are in the wrong place, and then here is the property, is the resource used on bool. In the resource used on bool, you have to write what. Okay, you can write something here, of course, but I recommend you, till you are beginner, till you don't know what is the syntax of the text here, I recommend you to click the browse, and there is, you can specify what to show instead of the value of the variable. The property is called resource used on bool instead of text used on bool, because you can use three type of resource. You can show text as well as images or image text and so on. Okay, for our target, text is the right one. So instead of 0, we want to show off, and instead of 1, we want to show on. That's all. Here you can also use the tab to change. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's all for the first of the 3 steps of this exercise, and we can simulate. Okay, till it compiles, I tell you that the resource used on bool works in all boolean fields, so not only these 2 fields, but also the ones or in the other mask. Let's have a quick test. Start simulation. So now we are in this mask. In fact, you can see that we see off, on. See, off, on instead of 0, 1, instead of the value of the cooling variable 0, 1. And the same for the heating. Off, and on. In this project there are other boolean fields, the one in the configuration mask. So let's see. We can see that also those fields shows off, on instead of no, yes. So first point, the resource used on bool. We can see here. Here is the resource used on bool works in all boolean fields of this project. So that's all for the step number 1. Step number 2. So while in this mask and this mask on, off sounds good, cooling status off, heating status on, so on, off sounds good, in the other mask is not the same. Cooling enable on, cooling enable off, on, off are not the best text we can use. Much more better text could be no, yes. So now we have to use no, yes instead of on, instead of 0, 1, but only in this mask. only in this mask, in the fields of this mask, and not in the other. So how is possible to do this? Go back in the task editor. We have to use the same property, but before to write it, we have to click the scope that is this mask. So far I told you, before to write something here in the key function editor, or before to define the properties, I told you that you must, or you have to click the background in order to select the global level. For the target of this second step, is different. We must click the mask in order to select the mask level. So what we write here in the key function editor and the property we set here are used, are valid only in this at this level, this scope, that is, in this case, the mask configuration. Now you realize why it is so important where to click before to write. Because if you click in the wrong place, you write or you set the right thing, but in the wrong place. And so it won't work as you expect. So repeat, click configuration to select the level of the configuration mask, and then, like before, we have to change, set the resource used on bool. So browse. Here, instead of 0, we want to show no. Instead of 1, yes. Here, pay attention because it's a typical mistake to reverse the text. 0 yes, 1 no. But attention is a completely different thing. That's all. Click OK. Simulation. So the first, the mask, the cooling heating mask will continue to show off on, but the configuration mask, and only in the configuration mask, the fields, the Boolean fields, shows no, yes. Now it's better. Cooling enable, yes. Heating enable, yes. Cooling enable, yes. No, okay. For sure, no, yes is better. That was the second part. Third and last part of this long exercise. So far we've seen how to customize the text at global level. That means in all Boolean fields of all the masks. And then we've seen how to change the text in a specific mask. So in all Boolean fields of this mask. The third and last level is the field level. So it's possible to define a different text, different specific text in this field. So the other fields of the mask will show what we wrote before, but that field and only that field will show something different. Well, I don't have a very real example for this, but just to make an exercise, to have an exercise, we can use instead of 0, 1, instead of off on, instead of no yes, we can show this n for disable, enable. The sequence is the same. Before to write something here in the key function editor and the property window, you have to click the scope. So you have to click not the background, because this selects the global level, not the mask, because it selects the mask level. You have to click the field to select the field level. So what we write here and set here is used only in this field, the selected field. Now we can, as usual, let's say, as usual, write or set the resource used on bool. So click browse, disable this for disable, en for enable. That's all. When you press OK, appears something new, but I will show you later. For now, just write a name. I use SF for special field, something that reminds me what is the purpose of that field. This N. And that's all. So start simulation. So all Boolean fields shows. I forgot to start simulation. All Boolean fields shows on off, but the fields of this mask shows no, yes, while this field and only this field shows this N, something different. So you can see that you have the maximum flexibility. You can define the function of the keys and the property, let's say valid or used everywhere in all the fields of all the masks using the global, or in a specific mask or in a specific field. You noticed that there is a priority. What you write at field level override what you write at mask level, and what you write at the mask level override what you write at the global level, and global override the value of the variable. So this is a very important concept, so I want to repeat again, once again, using the slide. This full slide states that if you click the background, you select the global level, where you can specify on-off, and so all the fields shows on-off, as you can see here. While if you click the mask, the background here of the mask, or click also here, you select the mask level, where you can write, in this example, no yes, so all the fields of that mask shows no yes, while if you click the field, you select the field level, where you can specify this N. In this case, this is used only in that field. And as you can see that there is a priority. What you write at field override what you write at the mask, mask override global, global override the value 0, 1. Well, so in the future, if in a field you see a text that you don't expect, now you know how to troubleshoot this. We have to see if what is defined, what is the resource used on bool defined in that field. If not used, search it at the mask level. If not used, you can see at global level, and you will see where is the mistake. Okay, here it's stated that the level is the same for key function editor and property. Okay, I told you this several times before. When you click an object and select a level, global for example, that level is used not only in the properties but also in the case. Let's have another example regarding this concept field, mask, global. We can see it simulation. So look at here. How is possible that in this moment, when the cursor is here over a field, the key down change the number, while, for example, when the cursor is here, in the top left corner of the room temp mask, the same key down do something different. That is, go to the next mask. So here, change the mask. Here, change the number. How is possible? The key is the same, the key down. So let's see what is the statement that the system, the operating system execute when we press the key down. For example, now, in this moment, the cursor is here in the field in the set point mask. So now we can see what is the statement defined there. I remind you that there is a priority. So the system uses, first of all, what you define at field, sorry, the cursor, at the field level. If not used, use what you wrote at the mask and global. So let's see what is the function of the key down at the key down at field level. So in this field, the key down do nothing. So since it is not defined, the operating system search at the lower level, that is the mask level. At the mask level, key down do nothing, not specified, so it search at global level. At global level, key down do something, so the system will execute this statement. That var, okay, it doesn't matter to understand exactly what is the purpose, but in general, it decrement the value of the variable. Okay. For this reason, when the cursor is here, the key down decrease the number you see here. While when the cursor is, for example, in the top left corner of this mask, in the top left corner there is the, if you remember, the move field. In this field, the key down at field level, key down do, okay, here there is a statement. For this reason, the operating system will execute that statement. For this reason, when the cursor is at the top left corner of the mask, when you press down, the system changes mask. So don't change a number, but change the mask. So, like I told you before, if in the future you press a key or a key combination and the system doesn't do what you expect, you know how to troubleshoot. You can go here in editing, check what is the function of the key in the field where the cursor was, if not used at the mask, and then at the global level. So finally, now you realize why in the previous exercises I told you that is very, very important to click the background before to write go to loop. Because if you write go to loop at global level, the key ask will go to that loop regardless the field where is the cursor. While if you click, for example, for mistake here, and if you write go to loop and so on, that statement will work only when the cursor is in this mask, in the heating mask. While if you press key ask in the other mask, nothing would happen. So remember, very important to click the right place. Now let's make a step backward. If you remember, before we click the field to select the field level, and we modified the resource used on bool disable enable. If you remember, appear this window stating that you are modifying a standard field. What means this? It means that so far we used standard field, like this one or the one for the set point, room temperature, and so on. Standard means that that those fields don't do nothing special, no special function of key up, key down, key enter, and so on. As well as there are no specific properties in that field. Now we are changing one of the significant properties, like the resource used on bool. So the field is changing from standard to special. A special field, in short, is a template. Oh, now I just write a name and then I show you a slide with some more details about this. Also, before I use this name. So maybe you notice that here the name of the field changed from standard IO to the name I just used. So I will use this slide to explain what happened. So you can see that when you place a field like this, the properties shows a lot of the property window shows a lot of properties, but they are grouped in two parts. In the first part, there is how to show the value, and the bottom part, variable name, is what to show. That is the name of the variable. So in this field, we will show the value of the en cooling variable through this format. Is a boolean, is an input-output, field text is not defined, enable is not defined, resource used on bool not defined, and so on. So when you change one of these properties, the enable on field text, resource used, as well as the skip field, the fields change from standard input output boolean, okay, change from standard, as stated here, to special. So a special field is a field, in this case is called SF enable device, with this set of property: enable on not defined, access type input output, data type boolean, field text not defined, resource used no yes, and so on. And in this context was used with the en cooling variable. So it is a template. So since it is a template, you can use the same template somewhere else. So if later in this project you need of another to show another variable, not enable cooling, but maybe enable heating or whatever else, another variable with the same properties, enable on, not defined, input output, boolean, nothing, no yes, and so on. Instead to place a standard field and modify it again and change again no yes, you can simply reuse the same special field. So when you place the field object, as usual, you define the variable you want, and then instead of click a standard format, you click the special field. We can see better here, for example, if, just for example, if in this mask we want to show the variable, I take just one for example, I want to show this variable, not using a standard format, standard output, input output, and so on, but with the template we created before. Instead of standard format, you click standard special field, select that field, and click. So you see that here we use another variable. Before we used en cooling, now we use blink, but the format of the field is the same, sf this n, which has no enable, input output, boolean, nothing, one figure, this n, and so on. Well, special fields are one of the most important object used in application. So I'm sure that if you open an existing project, standard or custom project, you will find a lot of special fields. And by the way, the special fields are also here. Mask, terminal, special field, and so you can also drag and drop in this case. Well, that's all also for this exercise. Thank you for watching this tutorial.